G'day, I'm George Holt. This is just a very short introduction to how colour depth impacts on file size and image quality. Colour depth is just the number of possible colours that can be contained in a raster or a pixel-based image. So as we have more colours, obviously we need to have a greater file size, more storage to be able to accommodate those colours. Now I'm going to concentrate on um, three major options for colour depth. We have 24-bit colour, which gives 16.7 million different colours, and that's typically what you see in JPEG photos from a typical digital camera. We have 8-bit grayscale images, which give 256 shades of grey, and that's very, very common in scanned documents. And also we have 1-bit monochrome, in other words, black and white images, and that's either black or white. There's no variation between those. Now I have some further reading here for you to have a look at. But let's just have a look at some examples of how this works, and then we'll zoom in on some images to see how they look. Here's three quick examples here. What I wanted to illustrate to you is what the impact is on file size. I've taken the exact same image, and you can see that the first one top left there is 24-bit color. Now, when I've saved that image, 24-bit color, 16.7 million colors, the file size is 2,250 kilobytes. So that's quite a substantial file size. Now that's a bitmap image, it's an uncompressed image. If we made it a JPEG, obviously that would be smaller, but again, it's quite a substantial file size. When we bring that image down to grayscale, the central image here, that comes down to 8-bit color, not 24-bit color, and the file size has now dropped from 2,250 kilobytes back to 769 kilobytes. And of course, the last image here is 1-bit color, and the file size has now come back to 96 kilobytes. So you can just see from a file size point of view alone, reducing the color depth, or in other words, the amount of data allocated to every pixel to store color, has a huge impact on the file size. Let's jump across and we'll have a look at some examples of how we can apply this. I'm just going to have a look at Photoshop here. Now I've got a number of different documents opened up. Now this first one here is the 24-bit color image, and if I start zooming into that image there, you're going to see that as we zoom right into a pixel level, you can see each pixel a little square of color, and there's lots and lots of different variations of color there, both in terms of brightness but also in terms of color. Let's look at the exact same image as a grayscale image, this one just here. And again, let's zoom in, and you can see now we're at the stage where what we've done is we've reduced the amount of storage per pixel. Now each pixel can only be one of 256 versions of grey. So the color is gone, but it's a much simpler image, and of course that's reduced the file size. And let's look at the last example. And just before I do that, let's just zoom back out and see how that looks. It's your classic, what we call black and white image, isn't it? Even though it's not truly black and white, it's shades of grey, it's your classic black and white style image. Let's have a look at the other image here. Now this is 1-bit color. So the options are, as we zoom into this, every pixel has to be either black or white. There is no variation in between. Now you can see that this has a huge impact on file size. It's reduced it right down. But the drama is what we're left with is an image that is not terribly useful. So I see that as a little bit of a problem. I gave another example over here. It's interesting when you look at text on a page. So I just put a little bit of text on a page and a few images. This image here is black and white. Is 24-bit color. Now when you zoom in, you can see the image looks fine. And you can see that actually text actually has some variations here of color as you go along. It's not always obvious, but it does happen. Let's look at the black and white version here and see how that one looks. And you can see that when we look at this image, it had to choose between black or white. So where you had that subtle variation, even in the lettering, you can see it's had to make a choice there. So black and white, 1-bit color is quite limited in how we can apply it. So that's just a quick example. Let's just quickly jump back into our PowerPoint here and see where you can go for some further reading. Down the bottom of this, and I'll make this available for you through Moodle, you can have a look at some of this further reading. Now this first one down here is an excellent article, very, very detailed, going into colour depth, probably far more detail than what is required for the unit we're currently studying, but interesting if you'd like to have a read to go into a bit more depth. And then I have a couple of other